It has been a difficult week in the world with the shootings that took place in Pittsburgh and in Kentucky. In that spirit, we would like to invite to the stage Rabbi Frydman Kohl and Rabbi Yael Splansky to share a reflection and speak about an important act of interfaith solidarity that will be happening this weekend at the Parliament in which we will partake. Please put your hands together for the two rabbis.
The great Canadian poet and songwriter Leonard Cohen wrote, "I greet you from the other side of sorrow and despair, with a love so vast and shattered, it will reach you everywhere." I greet you tonight from the other side of recent sorrow and despair. Last week in Kentucky, one hateful man with a gun went hunting for dark-skinned Christians in their hour of prayer. And last Saturday in Pittsburgh, another hateful man with another gun went hunting for Jews in their hour of prayer. One of those 11 victims grew up here in my congregation in Toronto, and we are bent in grief. But this moment, this gathering of thousands and thousands of people of faith, you come from every corner of the earth. You restore my faith in a love so vast and shattered it can reach everywhere. This gathering is a celebration of religious particularism and human universalism. We each cling to particular holy books. We each cling to a particular history, a holy language that is ours, a particular holy place, a particular set of heroes of faith, and yes, a particular holy name for God. And in these we find particular joy, particular meaning. Over the coming days, you will delight in telling your particular story, and you will delight in hearing the equally rich stories of faith. And over the coming days, you will also zoom up and out from your particularity to see something even more powerful, something ever more beautiful. You will witness a universal message of the human capacity to love. You will reinforce and reconfirm for one another that truly we are one humanity sharing one planet. And in this truth, in this knowledge, you will be transformed. Let me conclude with the words of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, who said, "I refuse to accept the view that mankind is so tragically bound to the starless midnight of racism and war that the bright daybreak of peace and brotherhood can never become a reality. I believe that unarmed truth and unconditional love will have the final word. You, my friends, you have the final word. I wish you every blessing as you dedicate yourselves and these coming days to discovering that unarmed truth and that unconditional love."
Salam, shalom, peace unto you. The late Robert Wistrich described anti-Semitism as the longest hatred and a lethal obsession. It is pernicious and persistent and viral. It mutates. Jews have been hated because we were communists or capitalists, cosmopolitans or clannish, elitists or unworthy immigrants, different or too much the same. Jews were hated because we were weak and stateless, or because we were Zionists and Israel is powerful. Whatever the rationale, the result was Jew hatred. We speak tonight on the cusp of the anniversary of the Kristallnacht of 1938, organized riots against Jews in Germany, against Jewish-owned businesses, against synagogues. I was shocked, but not surprised by the killings in Pittsburgh. In a climate in which xenophobic attacks have caused deaths in an African-American church in South Carolina, a mosque in Quebec City, a gurdwara in Wisconsin, we might have expected, we might have anticipated white extremist violence directed against Jews. We already witnessed in a climate stoked by extremism masquerading as Islam, or by anti-colonialism and anti-Zionism, Jews killed in Toulouse, in Paris, in Marseille, which followed earlier acts of terror in Rome and Istanbul. Hatred seething at the margins of society has again become mainstream in a post-Holocaust world. In the face of that tragic attack in the synagogue, what might we do? First, remain vigilant. Review personal and communal security. Speak against expressions of hate. Call upon political leaders and media to marginalize all forms of anti-Semitism, racism, anti-Islamic behavior, and xenophobia. But beware of allowing fear to overwhelm our desire to remain an open society with religious institutions as exemplars of welcoming communities. The attack took place on the Sabbath when in the synagogue we read of how Abraham and Sarah welcomed strangers. Hospitality is essential to all of us. Keep safety and shelter in balance. We must stand together. Muslims this Saturday will form rings of peace around 7 synagogues in Toronto in order to demonstrate that the children of Abraham share much in common. And this follows Jewish rings of peace around mosques after the bombing in Quebec. People of faith who will show up on Saturday declare that terror will not deter us from entering places of prayer and spiritual reflection. Third, demonstrate pride in your religious identity by wearing a head cover, a kippah, a turban, a scarf, even in Quebec. Place the lights of the Shabbat, of the Sabbath, of Diwali, of Hanukkah, of Kwanzaa, of Christmas lights in your windows. Take time away from work to observe your holidays, your spiritual times in non-commercial ways. And respond to hatred with love. Fulfill the biblical mandate, love your neighbor. Reach out to those who are marginalized, a refugee, an individual you may not have spoken with in a while, or perhaps someone with whom you haven't gotten along. The shooter last Saturday was treated by a medical team, many of whom were Jews. The president of the hospital, Jeffrey J. Cohen, lives across from the synagogue that was targeted and worships there. And he went to see the shooter in the emergency room. "How are you doing?" "I guess I'm okay." And then he asked, "Who am I?" And I said, "I am Dr. Cohen, and I am the president of the hospital that is treating you." So after sorrow, let us create hope. And after hate, let us create love. And after death, let us create life. Thank you.